It's a beauty spot. I don't know if I should see a dermatologist and check it out. But then again, I remember the advice that my mum said, and my mum said I should watch it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in. 1989. I am the master of the shunt, Rob Deb. This is, of course, Society. Um, Tom, Society is basically Beverly Hills of the Damned is the easiest way to describe it. That's Billy there behind me now. Um, Now he is part of a family of quite affluent, influential, not to be confused with influencers, within this, not so much white as illuminescent suburbia. Uh, Busy has problems in many ways. There's a Donnie Darko element to his stories as he sees a psychiatrist who's trying to help him work through his various issues. He has an imposter syndrome, as it were, with his parents. In the midst of this, that people he knows have like his sister's ex-boyfriend turned stalker, Branch, and Milo, his friend, seem to be capturing more and more elements as he realizes that not all is as it seems with his family and indeed with society around him. But why? They're doing well and everything is good. Uh, and in the midst of this, while he's in a happy relationship, he goes for the almost cliched new student ingenue French girlfriend. For those of you who don't know, if you're an American guy who lies about having a girlfriend, you wouldn't know her. She lives in France. If you're British, you wouldn't know her. She lives in America. And as for my most substantive relationship with a woman was with an American who you don't know, and Charlie Bond is so banned. He basically gives up the relationship that he could have, the regular five and dime under jumper over bra relationship for Clarissa. Clarissa turns out to be the linchpin in explaining society to him. Society turns out to be a parallel species to us, um, who, including his parents, his entire family, he's adopted. He's effectively been, whereas like Milo and the others are just Sainsbury's yellow sticker chicken, he has been raised to the age of 18, frankly, to be the sort of turkey for Christmas, i.e., his sister's coming out party. Body morphosis, sensuality, and awkward sex ensues until he escapes. Now, the film itself starts well. You can see this behind me. I would say that the elements of the conspiracy and the uncertainty, and there is a really strong element there where you're wondering how much of this is happening to him and how much of this is within his own psychosis. There's a very good psychological thriller and paranoia working throughout this film. However, it does flounder in the last act. It's the fact that suddenly the shunting, the alien, the whole viscous materials of it all uh come to fore almost out of nowhere, but with no real explanation. We know that they are an upper class. We know that they are see themselves as a higher race, but whether or not that's going to work in terms of what happens next. To give you sort of examples, he's able to win over Clarissa, one of these, um, to his life, but it's never really explained how, and there's not enough exposition on why she would suddenly change to support him. Having said that, the plus points I think of the film include the fact that you start out going, well, hang on, the ex-boyfriend is a stalker. He is creepy. Uh, his mate Milo is a space cadet. Petri, the guy who he wins against, which is another point I wanted to bring in, is quite nerdy. Bully himself is, he's a jock. He's probably going to be class president. He wins debate teams and he's winning touchdowns wherever he goes. And you wonder how much of that then is him and how much is society working in his favor. As that goes, for that first hour, questioning these things. And also, I will bring up Shauna, his girlfriend, who is a conventional, attractive blonde woman, as just an appropriate girlfriend for him, not in a social, just in terms of, okay, she's the cheerleader, he's the jock, and has her own aspirations to join society with no knowledge of it all. Yet, if anything, she is constrained. She's constrained as a young woman not to be seen as the victim, not to be seen as shamed by his behavior. These are the bits that I think could have been explored more, um, rather than just thrown out there. And the last clanging thing by its absence is you have created a story where you regularly refer to race and you have really no representation, except for, which also, like, this could go so far, but yet doesn't, except for the society alien turned good Clarissa herself, i.e., the French exchange student. The visual effects are great. I can see that this is 1992, the Cronenbergian verse of those of you from Rick and Morty. I'm just thinking of vicissitude at this point. In 1992, just to close, I was only really beginning to articulate my frustrations with demographics and inequality. I mean, it's very easy to go, racism is bad, class system is bad, sexism is bad. Of course they all are. Of course they all are. But at 16, how do they work? What do you do to deconstruct? What do you do to empower yourself? As opposed to just be a shouty person who ends up being lugged out and eaten for all of his nutrients. Um, those are the things that I think were massively missing from this film. Ultimately, I didn't like it then, and I still don't like it now, having rewatched it. Billy manages to defeat his Green Goblin by ripping him inside out. But there is no explanation on how he's managed this or what particular character trait Billy has to enable him to do this when we've just seen other people being eaten alive willy nilly. There is humor to it. It's sarcastic and it's barbed and it's lush and it's glossy, but it's that last act that I feel loses. Not so much, it's not that it momentum, it's just that it goes so back to the wall, which is great in a certain garish way of being a butthead and legs and things taken around. But ultimately it lacks story. It's, you could argue that it's poetic in this way. But I would say the first half is a fantastic talk thriller. Once you get into the actual alienness of it, it loses its mojo. There's there's his ability to overcome them is frankly some sort of Deus Ex Machina that I can't get on board with. Um, Worth a watch, I'd say. Actually, tentatively, yes. I think it was bold. I think it was, um, you know, constructive in terms of the technical work in it as well. And I do think the elements like not romanticizing Billy. This isn't a good guys, bad guys per se. He is quite grubby in just being a philanderer. The guy he's mainly trying to say is the guy who was stalking his, albeit uh, not really, but come on, sister. It does play with those elements very well. So yeah, I would say check it out and then question not just your place in society, but where did you want society to go? There you go. That's my thought for the day. And don't forget fan bits, yellow yellow. Okay.